Hi, class. This is Professor Anderson. I hope all is well with you as we go into the third week of the course, starting on Monday, September 13th, and ending Sunday, September 19th. Now, right now, you're looking at the course calendar, and week 3 is pretty straightforward. We've got 2 assignments that are due. Writing Center assignment number 2 and the narrative essay. Now, I'm actually going to start with the narrative essay. I want to just kind of break that down. So let's go to Blackboard here, and under essays, okay, we're in the essay section now, and we'll scroll down to narrative essay guidelines. Now, the narrative essay guidelines: write a 3 to 4 page double-spaced essay about an event or experience in your life that will engage readers, and that will at the same time help them understand the significance of the event. Tell your story dramatically and vividly. At the least, you should have an engaging introduction, body paragraphs with specific details, be able to relate what you were thinking and feeling at the time, and a conclusion that ideally reinforces the lesson learned or the main idea of the experience. Okay, and the paper should be submitted as a Microsoft Word document. Okay, now for those of you that use Google Docs, you can submit it as a PDF. You can just download the Google Doc as a PDF and submit it that way. Some students have provided the link to their Google Doc. If you do that, just make sure that I can view it, and ideally I have editing rights. All right, so those are for the people that use Google Docs. Now, I did provide there is a video that explains the process of writing this essay. I went ahead and provided that in the directions here. So you can check that out. I'll just give you some tips on how to proceed from the very beginning until the end of this narrative essay experience. Now, when it comes to the narrative essay, since you have up until Sunday, September 19th to complete this, what I would do, if you haven't already, is I would get a rough draft ready in the next couple days, and then feel free to take it to the Writing Center. Okay, you can arrange a time to meet with a Writing Center staff member, and they can just kind of look over your essay, give you some tips and guidance on your draft. So by the time this is due by Sunday night, everything will be polished. If you don't take it to the Writing Center, you can obviously use other resources. You can have a friend look at it, have a family member look at it. You can even, and this is something I've been thinking about, for this class, is I would not have any problem if you decided to reach out to some of your classmates. Now, I know for this narrative essay, we don't have an official peer review board. For this, we have that later on in the course. We don't have it for this, but definitely feel free to even reach out to your peers in class. You do have the ability to email classmates within Blackboard. All right. As a matter of fact, if you go up here to where it says email at the top, you can email any classmate. And I've had students do that in the past, especially with these online classes, and they just, outside of class, they just kind of shared their thoughts on each other's papers. So that may be another thing to do, just in terms of polishing your narrative essay before you turn in, the final draft, which is due again Sunday. So those are just a few thoughts, few suggestions when it comes to that. But I would probably say the Writing Center would probably be your best course of action to take if you want to get some feedback on your draft, right, before you submit it here. Okay, so that's the narrative essay. Now, the other assignment that you have to do, let's go back to the calendar here, is Writing Center assignment number 2. Now, Writing Center assignment number 2, I do have to break that down because it's unfortunately a little complicated. So let's go up here and let's start, because I was looking at this earlier. Let's start from the beginning. So Writing Center assignment number 2 is punctuation review. And just skip the cover sheet. You can sort of skip the checklist. The checklist really is for me, because when you turn in these Writing Center assignments, I look at the checklist. And if you have successfully done these things, then I can check this off as pass. Okay, if things are missing or you didn't quite, in terms of accuracy, wasn't quite didn't quite meet the standard here, then you'll probably see a resubmit in the Writing Center for the Writing Center grade. All right, so that's just a checklist for me. Now we'll keep scrolling down here, and we'll stop here where it says rules, okay? Because since this Writing Center assignment is about punctuation, it's going to provide a number of rules for us to keep in mind when it comes to the various types of punctuation. The first one are commas. The first consists of commas. Now, commas, probably the most common mistake that people make when it comes to their writing is use of commas. So this has a total of 8 rules that we want to be mindful of anytime we use commas. So pay attention to these rules. Look at the examples that they provide when it comes to how commas should be used, for these particular rules. And once that is done, then exercise 1, okay, on your own paper, rewrite the following sentences with commas placed where needed. After each sentence, name the rule that determines your choice. Use words, not rule numbers. So, for example, sentence number 1, you need to rewrite that, okay, on a separate sheet of paper, in this case, a Word document or a Google Doc, and you need to put the commas where they need to go. And then after each sentence, name the rule that determines your choice. And don't use the rule number, use the words, actually describe it. So what would that look like? Well, let's bring up a Word document. And when it comes to your Writing Center assignments, okay, this is what I would prefer. It makes it very easy for me. It's got your name, class information, what Writing Center assignment it is, Writing Center assignment number 2, punctuation review. And then in this case, exercise 1 had 5 sentences in which you had to rewrite it and put the commas in the right place. So for instance, with number 1, it would look something like this, all right? Even after her leg was amputated, okay, and the comma goes here after amputated and before Sarah. So even after her left leg was amputated, comma, Sarah Bernhardt toured Europe and the United States. And then after the end, that's where you put the rule, okay? And you notice how the rule is actually explained. It doesn't say rule 3. It just actually explains what the rule is. So that's what you have to do for each sentence, all right? So once you have finished exercise 1, then you move on. Now, when you move on, you then go to part 2, okay, which talks about major uses of semicolons and colons. So you look at each rule for those, and then you look at the sentences, okay, because they kind of give you an idea of what these look like when they are correctly used. So once you have done that, then you go to exercise 2. Okay, now exercise 2, same thing, gives you 5 sentences that you need to rewrite. In this case, using either colons or semicolons filled correctly in the blanks. So when you rewrite this, okay, William Shakespeare and his wife Anne had 3 children. So either a colon or a semicolon goes there. All right, and obviously it should be the correct form of punctuation. And then you indicate at the end of the sentence what the rule is, okay, following the same format that you have here. Okay, so you do the same thing with exercise 2. Also with exercise 3, keep going here. Exercise 3 really deals with apostrophes. So you have to put the apostrophes in the right place and then list the rule. The rule or rules that apply, because some of these have more than one rule that applies. All right, so the last thing for Writing Center assignment number 2 is exercise 4. Now with exercise 4, what you're going to do is you're going to take what you wrote for assignment number 1, Writing Center assignment number 1, copy and paste it into your Word document, and then underline or circle all the punctuation marks. Now, since you're submitting this electronically, you can just underline it. All right. So that's really the main thing I'll be looking for is, just taking your Writing Center assignment number 1 and carefully underlining the punctuation that was used. All right, so we go back to our sample document here. So in exercise 4, here underneath it, you would just copy and paste the what you had for writing center assignment number 1, word for word. Just copy and paste it in there, and then just underline, use the underline function to underline the punctuation. Once that's done, that's it. Okay, that's what you have to do for writing center assignment number 2. Just save this file, and then submit it. All right. So let's go back up here, and under writing center assignments, writing center assignment number 2. And then if you've saved it as a Word file or as a PDF, then you just attach the file, click submit, and then that's it. All right, now for those of you that do not have Microsoft Word yet, let me know, because eventually you will, especially when it comes to the writing of essays. I know some people have been just typing in the text submission, just writing the submission. And that was okay for the first writing center assignment, but you really need to get Microsoft Word. Now, Microsoft Word, you can get it as a part of Microsoft Office. All students do have free access to that, Office 365, as WCC students. And I believe in the syllabus, I provided some information to get started with that. Okay, so if you still got any questions about that, just get in touch with me and we'll figure it out together. But I would prefer that you do your work in Microsoft Word. Okay, so that's pretty much it for writing center assignment number 2. Again, as always, if you have any questions or comments for me over the next week, by all means, do so. Now, one final thing before I wrap up. You should be getting feedback on your week 2 work within the next few days of the new week coming up. Typically, it usually takes me like a few days to go through all of the discussion boards, because I have had an opportunity. I was active in the discussion board over the course of the weekend, just commenting on a few people's posts. This is a fairly large class, so I wasn't able to get in touch with everybody, respond to everybody. But definitely, when I grade these discussion boards, you will be getting feedback from me, especially when it comes to your ideas, for your narrative essay. Okay, because that's one thing that I asked you all to do for the narrative essay discussion board. Just kind of share your thoughts. I'll provide some official feedback for that in the Blackboard gradebook, for that assignment within the next couple days. Okay, probably by maybe Wednesday or so. All right, so I did want to say that also with writing center assignment number 1, that was due on September 12th, Sunday, September 12th. And the thing about writing center assignments is you need to turn those in on time. All right, we do not accept them late unless it's extreme circumstances. So don't get into that habit. All right, so I did just want to say those things before I officially wrap up. All right, so with that said, let's have a great week 3.